Don't forget to like and subscribe, and share your opinion down below. Am I the idiot for being resistant to sign my parental rights away? So me, 23F, and my ex, 32M, have an 18-month-old daughter. I don't work and he works full-time. We don't live together because of personal disagreements. We lived together for 2.5-ish years, which is when our daughter was conceived. He has a close friend staying with her overnight since he works third shift security and is an army reservist. When we first found out I was pregnant, we decided either termination or adoption. He got slotted for training by his unit while I was pregnant and was gone for 6 of the 9 months I was pregnant. About 7 months in, he came back from his second school and informed me he wanted to keep our baby. I told him I didn't want to be a parent and I wanted to give her up for adoption. He said he wouldn't sign off and he would take care of her himself. He works a lot to ensure he can provide for her and pays for 99% of things for her and sometimes things I tell him I need. He's a great provider and spends a lot of time with her. He is a great dad and has been working hard to raise her. Recently he started in applications for new work and a company reached out for him to work in Texas. The problem is we currently live in Indiana. He told me about the offer and wants to take our daughter with him. He's asked if I would sign away my parental rights if he does move. I had agreed to sign away custodial rights, but I still wanted a say in her life. We talked with my aunt who works with families and she informed us that would make things difficult for him to move since courts won't allow visitation. He wants me to sign all rights away, but I'm not sure I shouldn't have been stalling about it. His reasoning is I didn't want our daughter. I don't do much to care for her, and if he did get custodial rights I would have to pay child support. Hard to do when I don't work. I don't feel I should because she is still my daughter. Since she is my daughter I should have a say in her life. He reminded me when he was being reviewed for an AGR, active guard reserve, position, he offered to pay for half of an apartment for me so I could stay close, which I refused. He thinks I'm making this needlessly difficult, but I don't think I am. I carried her so I should have a say regardless how much I contribute, and I don't want her referring to any other woman as mom. So with all that said, am I the idiot? You're the idiot. You originally didn't want the baby and he pays for 99% of costs for her. You have also mentioned he is a great dad for your daughter, so it seems like a reaching a bit, and if you really want to see your daughter every so often, I'm sure if you talk with him you guys will be able to work something out. You're the idiot. She can call a woman mom who actually takes care of her. This seems pretty selfish to me, but this child is a real human being, not a toy. You don't get to do the I don't want her but you can't have her. That child will probably deeply resent you for walking out on her anyway. She doesn't owe you anything, it was your choice to carry her and she didn't ask to be born. Unless you're gonna be a mother to her you shouldn't have any business calling yourself her mom. You're the idiot. You don't even want her at all, if I may judge that part. You're just having your ego hurt and would rather have a child that have a mother that doesn't care about them than letting them live happily and have incredible opportunity to have a mother figure who would genuinely love her in the future. Am I the idiot for wanting my son to take Japanese class in high school? It's going to be another year before my son starts high school, but he's going to have to pick out his classes for in a few months. One of the requirements is that all students have to take a foreign language course. In our school district, students have the option of taking Spanish, French, Mandarin Chinese, Japanese, and ASL. I'm 48F. I'm originally from Japan. My family came to the US when I was 12. Because I have lived here so long, I can't speak the language well anymore, nor can I read or write it properly. Even though most of my time in America was spent living in states where there wasn't a large Japanese American community, the city we live in now does, and it's growing. I really want my son to take Japanese so he can learn the language with a proper teacher. I've tried to teach him and his sisters when they were smaller, but it's difficult when you haven't used the language for so long and you don't have many resources on hand to help you out. They've watched movies in Japanese and take part in holidays and other cultural traditions, but it doesn't help when you're on the phone with relatives back in Osaka. My son isn't interested in taking Japanese. According to him and his friends with siblings who go to the school, the only kids who take it already know the language and want an easy A or are weeboos, and he will add they are the cringe kind of weeboos. Make that what you will. While I want to respect his opinion, I'm hurt that he doesn't want to study Japanese. The teacher the school hired is a native speaker with more experience than me, and I think she will do much better than I ever could. I am also worried that if he changes his mind and tries to learn years later, he will have a more difficult time than if he had studied while he was still young. He is also interested in joining the army after college, and knowing the language will help him if he were to be stationed in Okinawa, which is home to many bases. My biggest worry, and my regret, is that him not learning Japanese will further isolate himself from my relatives in the old country. We're not close to my husband's side of the family, and my brother moved back years ago and has a family now. We have other extended family there as well. I want my children to have a relationship with their cousins and extended family. My husband and our friends think that we should let our son decide what to study. And I should agree too. But deep down, I really want him to study Japanese because I want him and his sisters to have a closer bond with their heritage than I did when I was their age. I'm gonna say now here. It's understandable why you want your son to learn Japanese, and it will probably be the best option for him. But respect his opinion if he chooses otherwise. Not the idiot for wanting him to study Japanese, but you would be the idiot if you made him do it when he doesn't want to. Maybe you can start learning together as a hobby outside of school? Not the idiot. It's perfectly understandable you want him to learn your native language, but he has to want it too, otherwise you're being a pushy parent, and from the sound of your post, that doesn't seem to be the case. It's tough to convince a child to do anything, let alone learn a language, but if you could show that learning Japanese is fascinating and will open up a new world, he might be convinced. I'm not sure telling him he can communicate with family that's far away will do the trick. The people I know who learn Japanese are crazy about anime. Am I the idiot for telling my estranged father that he and his wife can be grandparents to his other kids' future children? My parents divorced when I was 15 because my dad had been cheating on my mom with a co-worker of hers. My younger brother was 13 and my sister was 12. I became estranged from him around that time. My siblings followed suit. My full siblings anyway. I have 2 half siblings who are older than me and my other siblings. They were jerks to us because we were angry our dad hurt our mom, etc. And they made it clear if we didn't want our dad they didn't want us. So ever since I consider him my estranged father and not even my dad. I am now married and I have 2 little boys. I only see my father and his wife once every 3 years or so when there's a paternal family event of some kind. Last year there was a milestone birthday for my grandpa and throughout the day people went to see him. When I was leaving my father showed up and he saw that I had kids. After that he tracked me down on social media and started saying how he and his wife would love to be grandparents and how she was unable to have kids, so no biological grandkids and all that stuff. I replied once and told him that he could ask his other kids if she could be grandma to their future kids because they were not welcome in my life for the life of my kids. He responded several more times but I just ignored him. He then decided to get my great aunt involved and say that my boys deserve to have more loving grandparents if their grandparents are willing, and that I made his wife cry when I wrote what I did and I was insensitive. My reply was she was insensitive to sleep with a married man with 2 children, but apparently that was no big deal. And it goes beyond that. To how she treated my mom at work while the affair was happening. She even got fired over it because she was bullying another colleague of my mom's too. It's not the type of family I want around my kiddos. They'll be fine with a loving grandma from me and 2 loving grandpas from their dad. So tell me, am I the idiot for what I said? Your estranged father had a chance to stay in your life and he blew it. He also could have tried to reconnect with you later and didn't until he found out, years after the fact, that you had something he wanted, your kids. Sucks to be him. Oh, and the woman who helped destroy your parents' marriage is sad now that she doesn't get to swoop in and play granny. Ha 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 ha, fuck off. Not the idiot. Not the idiot. You owe this man nothing. and his audacious demands to play family now don't require a gentle response. You were right to put your foot down fast and hard. I doubt anything less would have gotten through his skull. He chose her. If he doesn't get grandkids through her, oh well. It's not your problem. Not the idiot. Your dad doesn't get to pick and choose the parts of your life he wants to be involved in and opt out of the rest. He left you and the rest of your immediate family in a very selfish way, and now he has to deal with the consequences of that. I suppose there are nicer ways to have phrased what you said to his wife, but she sounds awful too, so I can't blame you for snapping. Not the idiot. I never understand why parents think they raise such a stupid person who will basically say, sure, you ruined my childhood, now you may do the same to my children. Please have them home by 4. Would I be the idiot for not letting my dad walk me down the aisle on my wedding day? Hi everyone, I'm on mobile, so sorry in advance for any mistakes. I, 24F, am getting married extremely soon and I really don't want my dad walking me down the aisle. For a little context, around 2 years ago, after my fiancé and I first became engaged, I was still living with my parents. My fiancé was staying the night, we hadn't moved in together yet. On this night dad was being annoying towards my fiancé, cause he was bored. I asked him to stop. He didn't, so I had to ask again. Dad got upset cause I'm apparently no fun anymore and I ruined his fun. He's gone to do it again and I had to say no again. I could see fiancé was getting mad and I had asked him in the past to let me handle my dad when he did stuff like this. My dad started getting mad with me cause I wouldn't let him annoy my fiancé. Mum interjected and said a few things to him. Not long after dad had stormed off to another room and mum followed and told him he needed to apologize to his daughter. Dad said to her, I won't apologize to that thing out there, that's not my daughter. I heard this and was extremely hurt by that. My fiancé and I ended up leaving that night and I haven't lived there since. But now that I'm getting married, I decided that I didn't want anyone to walk me down the aisle, especially my dad. We have had a very rocky relationship for the past 2 years and I don't see how he expected me to ask. But when I spoke to him the other day, I said, Dad, I hope you're not offended, but I don't want anyone to walk me down. His response was that he was obviously offended. That afternoon he sent me a text saying I was his only baby girl and that I mean the world to him. He also called me the next day to say Mum told him why I decided what I did and he said, I don't remember that at all, but I'm sorry that I upset you. Since he doesn't even remember that and it's taken 2 years for him to apologize, I don't feel it means much. He has also apparently been complaining to my mum all week about him not getting to walk me down. Mum asked me this afternoon if I would consider leaving things in the past and have a fresh start and allowing him the opportunity. I haven't responded yet, but I have come up with a compromise. But I also really don't want to have to compromise on my wedding. So Reddit, would I be the idiot? Not the idiot. Stick to your guns. I guarantee that he remembers the reason his daughter moved out and stopped talking to him. He's still convinced he's right. This is your wedding. You do what brings you joy. And if that doesn't include your father, that would be a him problem. Do you even want him there? He sounds like a tantrum waiting to happen. Do you need that on your wedding day? Not the idiot. Your wedding. Your choice. Please keep in mind that he might throw a bigger tantrum, but please stick to your guns. Don't give in to his demands just to keep the peace. You don't have to compromise if it makes you feel uncomfortable. You deserve to have a perfect wedding, exactly the way you want to.